got no ball. Heard you living in a mansion and all your raps though. But your shit look like the trap on his Google Maps though. We been brothers since
Listen, sorry that we had some technical difficulties. We still gonna give y'all a full. This is the SKEAM Podcast. We had a little minor setback, but we here as usual. Y'all know what we do. This is the podcast where we discuss sports, knowledge, entertainment, appearance, and manhood. I'm your host. Main manifest to my right, I have.
You have the euphoric endorphin releaser, Pookie Long John.
We have some special guests up here. I know they said, where the ladies at? Where the SKEAM queens?
Yeah.
To my left, I have.
Just L.
Mr. Just L. And to my far right, I have.
Your man Zenos.
We're doing something different this week, my man Zenos. We're doing something different this week. We got the ladies in the ladies' lounge, so I'm going to give it over to the SKEAM queens, Bria and Tip. Yes, sir. Look at the ladies. Look at the good one.
How are you guys doing?
Y'all know it's the hostess with the mostest. We start off in the middle. We have Rhea, 605.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Rhea, and I am super excited to have my cousin, bestest ever on Instagram, here with us today.
Hey.
Oh, we didn't see that. Come on, Rhea, you might do it again. Bear with us. We're doing something new tonight. Okay, here we go. Let's make some noise for our ladies.
All right. So, it's me, your girl Rhea, and this is my beautiful cousin Tish on Instagram, best Tish ever.
Hey Tish. In the middle we have.
What's going on? It's Tiffany Marie.
Tiffany Marie, and introduce our guest to your left.
Yes,
Tiffany.
and to my left we have Miss Fawn.
Foxy Fawn.
Reach Fawn here, IG.
And we back. Listen, so check this out, D. We back. What we're gonna do today, y'all, this is where the ladies at part 2. Everybody who saw and been rocking with us from season 1, we thank you. First of all, let's get our housekeeping in order. Thank you for everybody who's been following us, showing love, liking, commenting, subscribing. This is the freshest, dopest new podcast. Y'all see us in this bottom left corner, my left, y'all right. SKEAM_podcast on IG, SKEAM.podcast on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Season 1, episode 1, we did a discussion that was called Where the Ladies At, part 1. And ladies were loving it. The fellas were loving it. We talked about all those things. So this is the part 2 of the discussion. I told y'all we had it for y'all. We have it right here, and we're gonna get into it as usual. We're not gonna delay. We start with our sports. NBA playoffs going on right now. We have the Rockets and Golden State locked in an intense battle. Can we get an update, brother True got a score right there. We got it live, y'all.
With threes and breaking knees.
What's the score? We got a score right there.
It's halftime.
57-57. 57-57. So listen, this is crazy.
Both need a rest.
And you know what's awesome is, well, not awesome, it's unfortunate. Kevin Durant hurt his leg, man. So
No, that's awesome.
See, what we got saying?
Shout out to KD, man. I remember them good old days.
Yeah. So it is unfortunate. But look, while we're talking about that, we have another distraction. And we're going to formulate this discussion around the young Miss Ayesha Curry. Trying to distract the man step while he's in this battle, right? In a hard-fought battle, trying to get a championship, trying to put a three-peat for Golden State, which is one of the hardest things to do, right? It's three-peat. Only a couple of teams have done it. She comes out with this news and this distraction, guys. And we're going to unpack that. We're going to be talking about everything tonight. But just from a knowledge perspective, fellas, we're going to start with the fellas, and then we're going to get over to the ladies. The statement that she made, she's seeking more attention. She's not. First of all, she knows that Steph Curry gets attention. And let me start like this. Let me start by showing her. So I'm so happy she said this. Okay, the reason being is because she's making a point for a lot of women, saying how they feel. You're married. You have the epitome of a good catch, right? 6 foot, you tall, light skin, yellow nose, black. Green eyes, blue eyes, whatever you want to call it, $300 million in the bank. Yet you're seeking attention.
For the record, she didn't say she was seeking.
She wants mother male attention. We're not going to do that. She said she's not getting attention from male. So what we're going to do is stay on topic. She said she's not getting attention.
Making sure you're staying.
She's not getting attention from other men. She said Steph is getting attention because he's in the NBA. Groupies come with it. You know what you signed up for. You have your cooking show. She said, and it's like, I'm not getting attention. I watched the Red Table Talk. I'm not getting attention from other men. I'm going to start with my man Zenos on the end. As a married man, if your wife said, and you're in the public eye, I saw the I'm not getting attention from other men. Zenos, and let's give a shout out. Y'all probably like, who are these guys? My man, this is one of my good buddies. Married 25 years, Lieutenant Colonel Air Force, solid. You see it, all that. But from the married point of view, if your wife was saying, I'm not getting attention from other men, how would that make you feel, brother?
That would, well, if I was in that same position, it would give me cause for concern. But I think specifically with Ayesha Curry, what she's experiencing is a kind of a role reversal, because women are used to getting attention, and with her being married to someone who's basically in the top 1% of all men, he's fit, he's young, he's rich, like as you said, it's probably uncomfortable for her to see her husband get more attention than what she's used to getting.
Right. And we know also they've been together since I think youth group. If I'm not mistaken, she's the only one. He's the only one she's been with. All of those things. And so when you marry at a young age, right, and don't have that opportunity to show your royal oats and do all that, or have the whole phase, that's what they call it. Sometimes you have that. Yeah, well, that's what we call it. We talk for real here. That's what they do. I'm gonna go to my man Lion now, and then we're going to go to Lionel. You've been singer. Actually, this is my man. We know him from church knowledge. We're knowledge. Thank you, D's. You've been married a couple of times, right? You divorced. What are some of the things that go through a woman's mind when it seems as if she's kind of competing with her spouse, right?
I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's not really a competition. It's kind of more so she understands that. If I can speak on their perspective, not necessarily just mine. So I can kind of see what she's saying. She's saying, all right, look, I used to get all this attention, and now he getting all the attention, but I can't do it. It's not fair for me, right? But in both cases, man, they got to go ahead. They're going to make a decision to go ahead and do the Jada Pinkett and Will Smith kind of thing, where they decide they're going to let everybody do what everybody want to do. That's a different story. But she shouldn't go. I'll be honest. They didn't make it public until somebody else made it public. So that shouldn't be your relationship and how you deal with your relationship with anybody, friends or whatever. That shouldn't be public. That shouldn't be something that you go to a table and be like, all right, I'm not getting enough attention, so I should.
Not only public, but at the time right now. The man is in the midst of where you gotta have your head stayed. Yeah.
She being Delilah, bro.
Right. You gotta have your head stayed. Hold on. During the playoffs, we're coming over to the ladies' lounge. During the playoffs, where you have to have your head space clear, where you don't want to give the enemy any attack. As a hooper, if I'm checking Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying right now? Yo, I'm in his head. I'm like, I see Ayesha bikini on, boy. All that. Yeah, you know, exactly. Sliding her DMs. And all she was doing was basically putting out an open mating call, wanting guys to get out of it. What I also want to talk about from a relationship standpoint, I'm going to go to PLJ and we're going right with your ladies. They itching. They in the back. Check it out. This is what we fail to realize. Let's big up the men who are respecting marriage. Okay, so you're not getting hollered at, number one, because fellas, we fuck with and rock with Steph Curry, okay? So if we're not hollering at you, Ayesha, it's because we respected marriage, that's one thing, and we're not, you're not getting attention. You shouldn't be checking for attention. Go ahead,
and people know she ain't gonna give it up on the first night anyway. Ain't nobody gonna waste time playing around trying to get her number. She a church woman. Ain't nobody gonna be waiting on 3, 4 months.
Let's go over to the ladies' lounge. I know. Listen, we're a bunch of real. Okay, we're gonna start with Tish. The married woman. Let's give a hand to Tish.
To SKEAM Podcast. I gotta speak to your last point because you're saying how men respect marriage. There's a lot of females out here that don't. And I think that was one of the main points that I pulled from this, like how the women are throwing themselves at stuff. Dudes don't do that as much. They're not as ready to be the side dude as females are ready to be a side chick.
Okay.
Like they proud of that.
But don't you think some of that comes with follow-up Tish with being in the NBA? Like even if you're not because the NBA players, right, get women. They're on the road 42 nights a year, right? Different cities and all that. They travel. Right. So part of it is, yes, what you're saying, you made a great point, but also being in the NBA, you're going to get a certain level of attention from a society standpoint, right?
So let me tell you, I'm tired of hearing men saying what they think she's feeling or what she's thinking. Most men don't know nothing about what women are feeling. The first thing I thought when I heard this interview, let me hear the whole context. Let me not just hear this part. And then also, when did she have her baby? She recently had a kid. Her body has changed. She may feel insecure. And then the rest of the interview, she talked about being mixed, she talked about other insecurities that she's had.
We're not there yet.
And
We're not there yet.
and I'm saying
we're going to get into all of that.
That provides the context for her statement. You can't just take one sentence and fly with it.
No. We're going to get into all
You
that.
have to talk about the statement in the context of which you're saying.
Ain't
So
nobody
right now, the statement.
She was very
Right now, the statement we're talking about is her saying, right, we're
You
going to
can't address the statement without addressing the context it was mentioned
Listen,
in.
we're gonna do that. We have a whole hour. Stay with me.
So
We're talking about. Wait a minute.
You had a whole
So
time
I
to
bring
go
it
and
back
say
as a
everything,
moderator.
and then you turn it
If
over to
I'm
us.
doing a
But
presidential
then you
debate,
start talking and you don't want to
if
let
I'm
us
doing a
talk.
presidential
That
debate,
is a challenge.
There are four ladies here that have some opinion about it. That's true.
I'm telling y'all
We
right now.
sat here and let you say all
You
you
didn't
have
let me
to
do
say.
nothing. You didn't let me do nothing. We're hosting. Stay with me. Stay with me. We have a full hour. I'm telling y'all those mics will be turned off. That's a warning. That's a warning. That's a warning.
I am not 5 years old.
That's a warning.
Oh,
Listen to me. It's a format we have right here with the whole thing. So listen to what we're doing. Tish, you made a great point. Okay? We're gonna talk about that. Listen to me. Wait a minute. No, it's no.
Very disrespectful.
Listen to me. I know we ain't doing that because that's what we're gonna do. Check this out. Listen, what we're gonna do is stay on task. I'm coming to Rhea with a follow up on Tish's point, okay, about getting attention, right? So we're gonna unpack all of that. If y'all stay focused and follow the lead, the host, the moderator, right? We're gonna get to all of that. It's a reason we did this. Okay?
Stop acting like Ayesha Curry.
Right. Here we go. Shut, James. Don't get around up. Here we go. Rhea, you're single. You have a desire to be married, correct? Yes or no?
yes.
You do? Do you think that when you get married, you're still gonna have, and let's be honest about it, y'all. That's what we do, have an honest discussion. There's still that desire for attention. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I said, I'm thankful for her being honest about her real feelings, right? She put it out there. My whole thing was the timing of it, not during the playoffs, not while I'm trying to win a ring, not while I'm trying to provide for the family. When you win an NBA championship, you get more money, right? All that. The timing didn't have to be right now. So as a single person, you can do that. As a married person, you think you're gonna still be looking for attention from other men when you're married?
I am not married, but I have had children, and so I totally understand as you have children and you're trying to figure out your space as a mother, trying to keep your independence, trying to deal with all of the changes that come. There is a part of you that does grow insecure, and you wonder, are you still attractive? Do people still find me desirable? And I imagine that even if you're married, those things come. And I believe in this situation, timing of the playoffs had nothing to do with it. She was in a space with other women who were talking about just general insecurities, life, and things like that, and she felt comfortable in that space with women who could relate to her, just expressing her feelings about that insecurity. And I know personally what she's feeling of, like, do I still feel desirable? And where is my place? Like, how do I fit? And so it's a completely understandable thing. And that's something that maybe guys can't relate to because you've never, I imagine that you might feel the same thing getting to a certain point. Do I still have it? Do people still want me? But when you have a child and your body changes and your life changes, your priorities
You
change.
think it's a little postpartum? Could be a little postpartum.
It could be. You don't realize, like, just because you have the baby, for months, maybe even years after having that child, you go through so many emotional and hormonal changes. You never really go back to the way you were before. It's this long change, and you're constantly evolving, and you're still trying to figure yourself out in your new roles. Right. And that does cause you to have insecurities, all types of insecurities. So it's not necessarily seeking or wanting someone to slide in your DMs. It's just like, well, nobody's talking to me. Am I unattractive? It's all internal. Right.
Tiffany, quick question to Tiff. Let me ask you. So being single, we understand Tiffany SKEAM Queen Tiff. This was another part of it. Because we know that women, sometimes compete with women. One angle that somebody came up with is, and I heard her mention this in the Red Table Talk, they don't be checking for me. I have to come up and actually let them know it's Steph and Ayesha Curry. Ayesha Curry. When they pan in the crowd, they show his mom, right, more than they show her. Because his mom is bad. And she's Miss Curry. So do you think that could be a part of it as well? Like, his mom gets more light than me. Like she has her cooking show, but men ain't checking for cooking shows, right? So she no real talk. We talking about male attention. She said Steph is getting attention from men, and then we saw that interview a while back where she interrupted the girl. You know what I mean? Like put her hands all on him and did all that. Then we had the lady with the tongue all out. So it's other things that that could be factored in. What do you think about as far as her mom and the attention that he gets from other women, like giving her the juice for this? Back on the ladies, B.
Okay, so first of all, I can't really reference the things that she's done when she was less mature. These were things that she's done years ago. Put her hands in somebody's face because maybe she felt, possessive over her man. Whatever, I don't know. What I gathered from what she said is that she is going through a transition. Okay, she is growing and she is learning that she has put a lot of her energy and a lot of her focus into being a girlfriend, then a wife, and then a mother, and maybe a part of her doesn't feel as if she is being acknowledged or respected for it. Now, the thing about it, from what I understand with Ayesha, when she first, became a public figure, she put herself on a pedestal. She was, she made sure that everybody knew that she was a God-fearing woman, that she was not going to be out here without, she was going to remain covered up. She had opinions about other ladies that were not covered up. And so, I think that this is all coming to a head because she's now going through things and experiencing life in a different way than what she thought. So her perspective is changing. It's not about her wanting attention from men. It's about her coming into her own as a woman and realizing that, hell, my entire life has been centered around my man and his wife. I'm not done.
You signed up for
I'm not done. I'm not done.
You signed up for
I'm not done. Okay? And so she's realizing that her entire life has been centered around her man.
That's marriage.
Oh, I'm not done.
That's marriage. That's what you signed up for when you're in marriage, right?
You're being rude. Okay, let me finish my thought.
Not centering your life on a man. That's your opinion.
What I'm saying is that she signed up for things that she had no real scope of the magnitude of what it was going to involve for her. Okay, being a wife in the public scene, being a mother in the public scene.
How do you know that? You're speaking for me.
I am saying that.
She said what? She said what?
My thing is,
the
first of
level
all,
that she signed up for. She didn't expect a lot of things that came with it.
I'm speaking from, the perspective of if I were her.
Right. Thank you for putting context.
Right.
If you were her.
If I were her.
We're trying to stay focused on what she said.
What she said was what she said. And what's happening is that men are not men only, but people are twisting what she said into something else.
No,
they're making it seem as if she's seeking and wanting attention from men. No, what she's
That's
saying.
What she said.
What she's
said,
saying is that she's going through
men.
a transition.
That's what she said. All right, let's go to Foxy Farm. Let's get in there. Her statement, and I quote, was, it's like Steph is getting all this attention from men, and I'm not getting attention from men. That's what she said.
Right.
Wait. We're going to find. It's Fawn's turn. It's Fawn's turn.
She said one thing that I internalized that caused.
That's what she said.
So that's where she's speaking.
So she's seeking attention from other men. Validation.
I don't necessarily.
You're not going to keep saying she didn't say that.
She's seeking validation.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Hold on. I think we all, as individuals, seek validation. When we think about, hold on. No, we're not sugarcoating it. We're talking about reality.
Yeah.
Reality is, as children, if we go back to our childhood, we realize that as individuals, we looked up to our parents or whoever that parent figure was, and we needed that validation, right? And so this is her husband. It's been about 10 years, okay? So we know that, in the beginning, you've got that honeymoon phase. Things are hot. Things are on fire. Things are great. And things kind of die down. And let me tell you something. As a mother, okay, a divorcee, we tend to turn our focus to our children.
It's called procreation. It's a natural process that a lot of men don't understand.
Right.
See, men, they see a woman with a nice, firm, whatever it is, especially men of color.
Yeah, we like that.
Hello, you like that,
We
right?
see
You like you
Yes, we
see it.
do. We're visual creatures.
Okay, the visual. So we've been given a gift, us women here. We've been given a gift so that you men can partake in that. But the point is, procreation happens when women typically have our children. We turn our attention to those children, and then sometimes men don't tend to focus on us as much, and we don't focus on them. Okay,
that's a great
because
point.
we get comfortable in that relationship.
That's a great point. Let's come back to
And
the
we've got to keep that fire going. So what I'm saying is she does in fact need validation, and maybe there's an issue at home where he is not in fact validating her enough. Okay.
Okay, exactly.
And so
let's go. Listen, we're gonna get back to all that. The reason we gotta keep it in the tight front because we're gonna talk about all that. And you made a great point. First of all, thank you for that. Thank you for all ladies' knowledge. When we talk about validation, that's what we gotta be honest about. Like everybody seeks validation, and it's okay. It's okay to call it out as what it is, okay? So we know that that's what it is, right? And she was honest about it. You made some great points, Fawn. Number one, okay? They say mama's baby, daddy's baby, okay? Like we know there's a stronger attachment from the children. They literally come out of y'all. Y'all the queens, we know that. The reason I say the NBA is not to shoot nobody no pass, right? There's a different, and I'm not trying to be whatever you call it, like just facetious, but there's a different level of wife, if you will, wifedom, if you will, that it takes to be with somebody in NBA. Number one, you know that person's getting attention. Steph's been getting attention since he's been 18 years old. I was in Charlotte when he was in Davidson, all that. Like we know that. Okay, so now not only that, he's one of the best players, right, fellas, in the NBA. Like he on that LeBron, KD level. So it's one thing if he's just a Joe Blow at the end of the bench, right? And Shorty's is checking for him too, being around hoopers and all that. But he's Steph Curry, one of the top 3 players in the world. So you know that attention level is gonna come there. Okay, back to the Mamba mentality, the LBJ, LeBron, and Steph. The level of intensity it takes, right, to be that level. You're not gonna be able to be, goo goo gaga and all that. I'm not saying like Steph doesn't do it because we respect him as a great father. They say, you see, he had the press conference when he had Riley, had his kids up there, right? To you get $300 million, so you can't have the cake and eat it too. Okay, that's what we're talking about. On one hand, you got the $300 million, you got your own cooking show, you got all that. He's not giving me another attention. Okay, I can't bleed into pieces at the same time. You want somebody who run up the bag, right, and get you $300 million. He's not gonna be able to be Google Gaga like the man who works 9 to 5. PLJ didn't get in there. We're gonna go to PLJ real quick. You don't get a chance. So when I said she signed up for that, Tiffany, it was not to try to be disrespectful. Saying it from a standpoint and keeping it in context.
And so
on this time, wait. Let me finish my statement.
So he has
Let me finish my standpoint. What we're saying is, you signed up to be a homemaker, not homemaker, but wife, homemaker, cooking show and all that. $300 million wife, right? Don't 10 years in try to switch it up. Now you wanna, you know what I mean?
You're single, right?
You give up certain things. There's a sacrifice. Most people die. When you marry, you die.
She's not the same person she was 10 years ago.
Right. We can't shoot her down. Y'all just said she wasn't looking for validation. We established that she's looking for validation. She's looking for validation. She's seeing her friends, basketball-wise, going out and doing all those things. She wants to do that. We said that. The one who's been married, Foxy said, we know what it is. We don't gotta. We speaking truth up here. We're gonna speak the truth. So no, it's true. She's seeking validation. You want people to go. You want people to go and you want people to go in your DMs. Now, what's gonna happen next year?
See, that's somebody.
When Steph is on the roll and people slide in his DMs, then what's gonna happen?
That's what's gonna happen.
Say that.
But that's what's gonna happen.
Is this mic on? Is this mic on?
Because what you do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because what you do is, that's what she did. She pretty much did give every
a mating signal.
A written joint.
We're men. We know what this person is.
She didn't do it on purpose. She didn't do it. Wait.
But she still did it.
Do you think men go
Maybe she gave her
midlife crisis?
Wait a minute.
In all due respect, as a mother, She just had a baby, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
About
So,
women things.
right.
And we having a conversation about
Y'all
men,
think
about our
everything is a bad
conversation.
signal for your penis. It
No,
is not.
It
She
is
was
though.
simply talking about her feelings.
And she's-
Exactly.
And they get emotional.
It had nothing to do with y'all. No, it's now we're
Women
getting
mad though.
emotional
Right,
because I'm
right,
sitting here
right.
having a
Women that's
conversation
mad
with you.
about it.
You are ridiculous right now.
Why?
Some
Why
women
y'all-
mad too.
Right.
Some women mad
Talk
that she
about
did that. Some women said, they mad that she come out.
I saw that.
Some women trying to get married.
I saw that.
Since
Let's
the
talk about that.
80s.
That's
It's been
funny.
a girl since the 1980s. She's been trying to get married.
And that's what I want to unpack. I'm coming to Tish. Wait. I want to come to Tish. Wait. Real quick. We gonna come to Tish first in the ladies' lounge. Listen. From a married woman, I saw one comment say that. They said, see, Ayesha Curry, and I quote, is messing it up out here for women because you have the epitome of a catch. You have a 6'2", all that, whatever other stats. And if a man, she's like, this is why men don't want to get married, because if they see you with Steph Curry wanting to dodge and say, I'm getting tired of it. What is, my man, is a manager at Burger King. And none against managers at Burger King, but yeah, why we do? Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know what they teach us at church? Church is
not everybody
my
goes to
root.
church though.
In my marriage
Go ahead.
is
She's talking.
no, your husband, your wife, no person can fulfill everything that you need. So if you're looking to him to be all of this for you, it's never going to happen. Like, he's never going to be perfect. He's never going to fulfill. I heard something earlier that said, this proves women always have a hole, a void that can't be filled, or something like that. That's true. No person can fill that for her. So
And we want to talk about that. So let me ask you real quick, follow up to that. Like, let's be honest about that. See, this is what this whole situation, not to be on no back and forth. Like, we want to have this conversation because it doesn't take place enough. Like, there is a void. We're not saying your man's supposed to be everything, your man's supposed to be all. Like, shit, it's tough, man. Like, you've been there 25 years. Talk to me, Drew. Like, it's not always peaches and cream. It's not always. So this could be a teaching moment for people desiring to get married, right? Like, women who are desiring to have a husband, some of them were upset. Me and Drew, we not gonna go into the details, but sometimes, bro, we talk. This is my man. We talk about marriage. So I have mentors who marry, who doing that, So let me say, when it is those tough times, we talk about airing it out in public and all that, not having to do that. Like, how do you get through that with your spouse? How do you, what are some things that you may have, done or?
Well, I think, marriage is difficult. And I think a lot of people enter into marriage thinking that, kind of like she said over here, that my spouse can fill that void that I have in my heart. But since you brought up the Bible, Paul said, in fact, I wish people didn't get married because it distracts your attention away from God to meeting the needs of your spouse. And that's true for men and women. Mm-hmm. And so in a sense, if you're focused on trying to start a business, trying to be an actor, trying to win your third NBA championship in a row, then maybe there are things about marriage that will pull you away from that and vice versa. So in a sense, marriage is about sacrificing so much of yourself for somebody else that a lot of people aren't ready for that and probably should consider, do I want to get married or do I want to pursue my dream? And really weighing which one of those is more important at a stage in their life before they make that decision.
Quick follow-up to Foxy. Let's go back to the ladies' lounge. You said happily divorced. Like, you put that adjective before. This is what you said. And we know that, Fawn, I can follow her. We got her IG out there. She's a model and all that. She's doing certain things and getting things, going, of course. Do you think it was more difficult to do that when you were married, or did that factor in some of the things that you wanted to get off and do? I don't want to speak for you, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely not. It was not difficult at all because I was in a totally different station of my life at that time. And so that was not my focus. So to go back to what the gentleman was saying earlier, at that time, I was giving more of myself because I was thinking about my counterpart. And I think that's the secret ingredient to making marriage work. You have to think about your counterpart and what it is that they want and what makes them happy, their love language, in order to really make the marriage work. And you have to also understand that we are dynamic people, and what the love language was 5 years ago may not necessarily be the love language at that point in time. So you have to grow together and realize that things change. And when the two people are not walking down that same path with that realization that I'm not who I was when you married me and vice versa, then that's when you start to go your separate ways and you're no longer growing together. Okay.
Right.
So it's a constant process of learning who you are and learning each other in your different stages of life, because hey, I may not be as limber as I was 20 years ago, so
Right.
Things change. That's the reality of life. That's the reality of aging.
To that point, they say you never divorce the person you marry. Do you think like the person, of course, because people will, like the person when you first initially started the journey of marriage, grew, you and him, right? Grew to a different state. Was that part of the reason? Like maybe y'all met up and matched initially, but as y'all continue to grow and matriculate, right? Y'all weren't different. Do you think that could have factored in it?
I think that's an absolute factor. I think that's the number one issue. Because let me tell you something, going back to the comment about God, God is the head. And when you have things in proper alignment and you know that he is the head and the man comes up under him and then the woman, okay, that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
But in my marriage, it was twisted around. And he gave me that lead role, and then at some point he wanted to take it back, but he didn't know how to lead. So to speak to your point, absolutely.
Come back over here to Zena. We go back to the man cave. Like so, when you say man is the head, right? We know that's in a proper order, and then the women, follow that to help me and all that. The Bible says weaker vessel. Right? It seems like some of the nowadays in this feminism push and wave, and I'm a dominant man, I could do all that too. A lot of women are not subscribing and putting themselves in a position to even be led because they want to kind of do, a lot of the things that men do and all that.
Right.
Right, Pete. Do you see like Drew? You made a statement a couple weeks ago. Like, man, it's tough. Like, we got our group chat. Like, it's just tough. Like, have you seen marriages where like the woman is kind of like more combative or like just
tell you to go wash the dishes, ask you why you ain't cooked, why you ain't cooking, raise her hand.
Or follow up to that. Yes, go ahead. You had that. And then follow up to that. Was there a little season where your queen maybe had been on something? I'm doing my own thing, blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, let me say this. I think every marriage has to find its own sweet spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not the one that said the man is the head. So,
the ladies said that.
Yes, the ladies said that. And ladies often do say that.
I did, yeah.
But I think there's
the ladies been married. Said that.
I think there's two challenges to marriage. I think men like to have ownership. I think men like to have ownership, right? And what does that look like? It looks like involvement, and then it can look like investment, and then the last phase is ownership. And you'll hear women complain about, well,
come on, man, we got brother Drew over here. Involvement, investment, and ownership. I'm sorry, I didn't go ahead.
Right. Because you'll hear ladies complain about men saying, well, he was too possessive.
25 years.
Men like to try to own things, right? Women, however, I think struggle with control, right?
Okay.
It's influence, manipulation,
right,
and control, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, you're the head, but I want to do it my way, or I want you to do it.
His desire would be for you, and then your desire would be to rule over him. So that's what it says, right?
So I think those are the two things that men and women kind of struggle with in a relationship to varying degrees, and how those two people kind of figure out how to make those work for them. I've seen marriages where the woman is kind of the lead and they're happy. I've seen marriages where the man kind of takes a back seat or leads, or they kind of go back and forth under certain conditions.
And listen,
and it works.
And that's great. And that's what I'm saying. If you have a guy who's cool with being in the background or woman wearing the pants, all that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Most men actually though desire it goes against our innate nature. Because to Queen Fawn's point, the men is designed to be the head, right? The Bible says follow Christ as I follow the church. So if I'm in the head, it's got to be order, right?
Right.
Adam, man, so in this new age of I can do everything, the man's supposed to be I'm equal. No, you're not equal. That's not what you out of order. You out of order already because the man is supposed to.
Let me say they are equal. They are equal.
I'm talking about.
But you're talking about position. You're talking about position. But equal. Let me say this: a man is like a dollar bill, right? A woman is like 4 quarters. Equal in value, but different in appearance, different in feel, different in strengths and weaknesses. And so I think I know what you meant, but I just want to make sure.
Okay.
I say equal in value before because if they throw something over here, it's gonna hit me.
It's okay. Check it out. Right. So check it out. This is what I said. Check it out. This is what it is. So when I say equal, right? That means 50% down the middle, 50-50. It can't be 50-50 because that's how who's ahead. So that goes against what she was just saying as a man's ahead. So watch this. It can't. We're not wired different. We're not. I don't have XXYY chromosomes. I can't produce babies. So if we were equal, we would both equal mean the same. If you look up the definition of equal, it means the same. And we both do the same things. We don't do the same things. Right? Don't damn blame me. That's what. So we're not equal.
Let's
from
not
that,
play on
from that
words.
standpoint.
What about a compliment?
From that standpoint.
What about
I'm coming back to
compliments?
I'm coming back to the ladies' lounge. SKEAM Queen Rhea. We gotta get it back on here. Check this out. Do you think there is some competition and there could be competition in relationships? Let's go back over to the ladies' lounge. These competition in relationships from the standpoint of, my man's doing this thing. I think Fawn talked about it. I'm doing this thing. I gotta find myself. You talk about finding yourself. Last week you talk about I'm dominant too. That's SKEAM Queen. You have the right to do that. A dominant female and a man having the privilege to be with you. How do you temper that competitive nature, if you will, if you're a strong Black woman and you doing those things while keeping yourself but still supporting being a helpmate to a man?
I don't see it as a competition. So I feel that, yes, I'm extremely independent. I'm very strong. I have my own thoughts. I have my own desires. But I feel like whoever I am with should respect that. I have absolutely every desire to also support whomever I'm with and to help them grow and help them develop. And I want to hear what they have to say. I think that when we talk about a man leading, he has to be leading himself somewhere first and garner the level of trust and respect needed for me to feel comfortable being led by him. If he's not doing his part or he's not, where he needs to be, and I'm not even talking about financially, I'm just talking about in life. He doesn't have a vision. He doesn't have a plan. He's not going anywhere. How can I feel comfortable trusting and following that? Because what am I following?
Right.
If I have a vision and a plan and I know where I'm going, then it's easier to go with what's established. And so it's not a matter of competition, but I feel that for women, in order to be led, the man has to be capable of leading. And if he doesn't have himself established, if he doesn't have a focus or a goal, then it's hard for him to be able to garner that level of submission from a woman.
Absolutely.
So it has nothing to do with competition.
Let's come back over here. We'll come, and then I'm going to next. Come back to the fellas, these.
Let me see. So let me ask you a question, because sometimes, if you choose to be with somebody, then you figure out he's not the leader. How long do it take till you figure out?
Not only that, and we're gonna go to Tiff. That's because what you were saying. Sometimes, and I agree with Rhea. You gotta have your stuff in order. But guess what, Queens? Sometimes a man is getting his stuff in order, right? You could be in a relationship with a guy who may not have it all together. Sometimes it's the man like, oh, you gotta do that. You ain't leading. I'm following you, Smith. Well, you know what I mean? Rodney working at UPS. And shout out to my UPS workers, or you on your trajectory. It takes us time to build that and get that in order. It's like we're living in a society today, right, where you gotta have everything. No, maybe I'm grinding. Maybe I'm on that path and on that trek and on that journey to get my stuff in order. But I want to go to Tiffany real quick. Let her get in there.
It's a mindset.
Go ahead, Tiff.
Okay,
Like,
what's your
the question was, go ahead, James.
My question was, so you could be with somebody for a while, but then it takes, you learn that he's not the one or he's not the leader and you want to lead, but you chose to be with that person. So why are you like, choosing something different? You know what I mean? Like, if you chose to be with somebody, if you chose to be with somebody, why then say, hold on, you're not the leader? But you chose to be with me, but how you gonna say I'm not a leader, but you chose me for a reason, right? To be with me, you had to choose me for a reason.
So
I'm coming to you next one. Go ahead. That's it.
I don't really know how to answer that question. It's a great question.
I think you have thoughts.
Yeah, I think.
I do too.
All right, that's fair. So we'll come back to you.
Because I kind of want to go back a little bit. Okay. Because we were talking about, we started off the conversation with the Ayesha Curry and the Steph Curry thing. And so you were just talking about, you know, how some men don't have it all together, and it's a building process. Now, in relationships, especially marriages, from what I gather, you know, being a single and all, what I gather is that there are times where the equilibrium will be off.
Right.
There are going to be times where he's not going to be at his best, and she's not going to be at her best. And so this is a moment where Ayesha on live TV expressed some desire for some kind of adulterated attention, and maybe she's kind of going through something that she's, you know, she's not completely on her back.
We got that.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like what you were saying earlier is like expected for a woman to deal with the fact that a man is building and he's going through his situations. But then when a woman is going through her, you know, her transitions, and she's emotional. You know, she's emotional. She's right. I'm not done. And then she's saying things, knowing that it's playoff time, and he's like the third in the world.
They're not really. They've been married 10 years, Tiff.
It doesn't matter. Throughout 10 years, you are never going to be the same person. That's that right. From the time that you met to the time that, you know, today. You're not going to be the same person. Right. So you're going to go through ups and downs. That's right. As a person, as a complete whole person. Now, she is probably, you know, I can't say that she's not a whole person, or she's got a whole, like what was being discussed earlier. I'm saying she is a whole person going through her own process, and it's to be understood, not condemned.
We understand that. Let's keep it going. And great point. Right now in America, 70% of marriages are ending in divorce. Right. This is a statistics that's been showing. 70% of marriages in the last 10 years. That's 2019. Those are statistics. Let's go. So those are 2019. So watch this. It says 68%. We're not going to argue with semantics. That means if we have 10 people get married, that the statistics are showing 7 out of 10 of them are getting divorced.
But why?
So we're gonna talk about that, like, because
PlayStation 3 out.
Listen. This is an epidemic, right? This is an epidemic, and we know that marriage, for the most part, is allowing the government to be in your relationship. It's a business contract. Let's be real. The laws don't favor men. And we talk about that because we stand for manhood. We are manhood beasts. We don't talk about our parents, how they parent. We are manhood. So we've been in manhood this whole time. Not only that, right? But I think the advent of social media, Christian Mingle, Match.com, eHarmony, you got swiping, Tinder, all these things. You have women who looking at a lot of different options, not realize half the cats on Tinder got girls. They just look for threesomes. Let me disrespect the Tinder. Let me not out there. So you got this diluted perspective of options out there, and you give up on your mate. To POJ's point, somebody grinding and building, and it's two different things. Okay, Stephen and Alicia married 10 years. We talk about somebody in a relationship who desire to be married, right? You can't have those same ideas of ownership, marriage on a person who's grinding and building. We on our purpose, we grind and we build, and we're not there yet. But I want to ask, like, why do we think, and we know that, I'm going to farm on this one, back to the ladies' lounge, 70% of marriages are ended in divorce.
If we're going to post facts, we need to post real facts.
That's a fact.
It's not. The 2018 divorce rate is 48%. It's not 70%.
In the last 10 years, the stat was the last 10 years. We're not going to split hairs.
Okay.
The last 10 years, 70% of marriages
and
ended in divorce.
And the divorce rate has been a consistent decline for the last 10 years.
It has among whites, blacks, military, the whole nine. But let
trust but verify.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the institution of marriage and why. The typical reason is for financial.
Yes.
Okay?
Talk about it.
Now,
Bush and shit.
if we're not taught at an early age how to handle finances, how to budget, what a budget looks like, and what we should be doing with our money to grow, how to invest in a business, how to create our own business. That means each of us has our own idea of what our money should do. And as a woman in this whole feminist movement, I work, I make my own money. Right. So how dare you tell me what to do with my money? Okay, hold on. We're married, right? We're institution, okay? So the problem is we have not been taught what finances truly is and how to handle finances, and we've been given all this liberation. We're no longer just the cooks and make sure a hot meal is on the table and the house is clean and the clothes are ironed and all that good stuff.
Egos can't handle that.
And that's a whole nother topic, okay? But we are bringing home the bacon just like men are, okay? And I really think what we need to do is understand the fundamentals. If we go back to the fundamentals, I think that will help each of us as a human being, regardless of sex. And from there,
I love it.
Okay?
Sex. That's what's up.
And from there, we will understand our individual purposes and what it is that we bring to the table and what we want when we come into that union called marriage.
Let's come back over to the fellas. PLJ want a quick follow up with that, and I got something.
Back then it was different from like the 70s, 80s, 90s. The relationship was different. I feel like women was more like kind of in the kitchen type, and that was respectable for them to be, but they want to do different things. But while they're like rising in the world and stuff, it seemed like I'm making money to do the damn dishes faster. They talking back in this.
Buy a dishwasher.
Back then they used to be like that, so it had more a tumultuous type.
It does. I want to piggyback on something Fawn said. You said going back to the essence, to the roots, and that's a great point because I like to always say that. See, marriage in general, right, is not as prominent and preached to young men as it is women. Like, we gotta be honest about that. There are women or young girls at age 6, 7 looking at Bride magazine, talking about my wedding colors are gonna be X, Y, Z. Guys, we plan. So to your point about the finances, we're not thinking about marriage. We're not thinking about a family. We might be thinking about our vision, our LeBron James. We ain't thinking about pastel colors. Sasha gonna be my flower girl, all that, and again, it's not a problem because we're talking about marriage. So let me finish my point. I'm coming back to the ladies' lounge. What we're doing is we have ladies who, and I get it, Cinderella, princess, love, fairy tale, all these things. Let's get married, and that's the epitome of that. But when we have men who don't have that same mindset of brown marriage, because again, we think about what we got to do with it. Like, that's where men are from Mars, women from Venus, right? So we're not thinking like that. I see Gino's nodding. We're gonna get over to the ladies' lounge because they talk about that. Like, we talked about the essence. Women have a stronger perception and desire, if you will, not perception, desire for marriage. Versus, we're going to Tish, have a stronger desire for marriage than men. Go ahead, talk about it. Why do you think that's so?
The desire.
It's on.
It's not just about the desire for marriage. It's the way people raise their boys, period. Like, have sex early, sleep with as many women as you want to. Like, it's the way that a lot of people raise their boys. It's different than the way that you're raising your girls. And you're not raising them to be in a committed relationship, to be faithful, to be a good man, to be a good husband. Like, a lot of people aren't preparing their boys. And a lot of, with the being in charge and being ahead, a lot of people nowadays, they're coddling their sons. Little boys, teenagers, men nowadays are punks, and they're not prepared. They're leaning on their mom and their grandmom and their auntie, and they're not ready to lead a household or a family.
You said something early. I don't think, and I'm with you, but I don't think it's. You said something earlier. I don't think it's as far as not being raised right. Again, the onus is not on getting married. Young Tommy, when you're 3 years old, you gonna get a wife or not? We're not taught that. Like, it's going to the NFL. It's going. That's you, but you're a woman. I'm talking about from a male perspective. I'm talking about from a male perspective. Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. But you're talking about marriage. Right now we're focusing on marriage. Right. No, the question was about marriage.
And let's keep it real.
The question is about marriage.
You just made a valid point.
The question is about marriage.
Okay. Girls never think about wedding.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking about taking over the whole world.
Yeah.
But you made a valid point. You said
what y'all think.
Women desire to be married.
And I think it's crazy to me.
I have a sister who had a wedding
It's
party.
desired and I had sex with the whole world and be married to my one husband and have sex with him. That was the one thing about marriage.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's a time.
I just say interesting how you bring up the fact that men don't have this onus, but men are the ones asking women to marry them.
That's
It's not
because
as
it's
if a
tradition.
woman. Okay, it's not as if a woman
tradition.
is not okay. Well, nobody is putting a gun to your head saying, "Hey, you need to make sure you marry a woman and get married because that's what she's been
No,
dreaming
the
about her
studies are
whole
showing
life."
marriage is down.
But
Guys are not
let's back
asking
up
for
for a
marriage
minute,
now. Guys are not
because
asking for marriage in 2019.
You made a valid point. You said that men are being coddled by mothers, grandmothers.
Thank you.
That's a problem right there. Where are the men?
Right.
Where are the men showing these young men how to be men?
Locked up in jail.
Because if they are there, if
Being
there's
shot.
a presence, then our young men would know and they would have a particular idea of what it is that's expected of them, not only from being a provider standpoint, making sure the lights are on, the bills are paid, and food on the table, that kind of thing. But I don't even think we have that down. The
I'm
basics.
glad you said that. I'm glad
The
you said that.
basics.
I'm glad you said that. You know where the men are? We're being locked up. Let's come back over here, fellas. We've been targeted by legislation that give you. There's no excuses. These are facts. We're being shot in the street. Trayvon Martin, and all that. You ask where the men at. This is where the men are. Okay. But the men who are out here, the men who are out here, yes, but the men who are out here, we're trying to survive, right? We're focused on that. And there are men who desire to be married. Again, we have a man on the panel, 25 years doing, but not every man. We trying to get home at night. We're not trying to be shot in the streets.
Back flipping.
But I think-
We said, where are the fathers?
But she said we're the men. She didn't say that. She said we're the men.
We're
coddling the guys. So that's a whole different.
You just said we're trying to, as men, we're
That's a
trying
whole
to
different
survive. But I think that's the problem. As individuals, we're trying to survive, and as a people, we need to come together and collectively thrive. Okay, so if, like the three of you sitting there, if you don't take it as an individual, but you come together, there's power in numbers.
Oh, we know that.
So, right. So if the three of you come together and then you make a plan to reach out to the community, then your load is lightened because you're not taking on so much as an individual.
I'm glad you said that.
But you're taking on something collectively and you're taking the lead.
And we're seeing
the
men-
head.
Fine, we're seeing men do that in more numbers nowadays. Again, we talked about the lockdown movement, men going their own way. Men who are not focusing as much on marriage and all this stuff that has been forced on us. See, this business contract as marriage has been forced on us. But if we get our community right, see, first I gotta get myself right as a man, then get my community right. So it's so much work that we're thinking of. It's not just it's not just and that's what I'm saying. That dynamic is what men like myself and others with platforms are doing and thinking. We're not thinking of, I gotta get married, I gotta do this, I gotta take care of my wife needs. Back to Zenos' point, the single man, right, biblically, can get more done because he's not thinking about his wife needs. I want to get you back in here, Drew. I gotta get my community right. I gotta fight for what's going on. I gotta be on my day. I gotta be on my square. I just got so much more to do than to think about the whims of and all that. So that's where we're going. And it's not saying that it's not important. Again, because we desire to still have that and take care of that. The woman is a part of that. The women are our queens, our Mother Earth. But we have so many other things. It's not a cop-out. I heard somebody say, excuse me. We're not making excuses. As a man who's tasked to lead, we have so many other things that are just more important than just celebrating and just the confetti and marriage and all that and weddings. We're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not a
and that's
mutual thing.
Exactly. And
But
don't get to the whole men go in their own way thing. Men go in their own way thing. Men have always gone their own way. People have always gone their own, particularly men.
It's
Okay?
fine.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Okay. And so my thing is, like I said earlier, I don't understand how you can say that this is a institution that has been forced on men when historically marriage has been in place for years.
Why did this shit come in place?
So at what point were men going to say, "Hey yo, I'm done with being forced to get married to the woman that I happen to be in love with, and I'm going to stop this right now."
No, marriage initially came in place. Marriage initially came in place to make sure that black men, were not marrying white women. It was a government.
No, that's not true. That's not true. No,
it's a business contract.
That's not true. Now, the marriage certificate maybe, but the institute now.
So that's what we talking about. You can't get married in America without a marriage certificate. Why do I gotta go to the government?
Historically, that's not true.
Child support, alimony, all these things.
I
levied against men.
Let me. So
let's come back over to the fellas. So hold on, I'm going to Drew real quick. All of these in the West, all of these laws are levied against men, and there's a reason because of that, right? We want to break down a family. You break down a family, you have one, you got one to run into the system, right? You got to target the man first. So if you break down a man and don't have the men home, lock them up with unfair laws, shoot them with impunity in the streets, and you take the men away, then you have the women being coddled, big mama them, raising the men and all that. So it's a whole cycle to do all that. So now, marriage initially was for primary landowners, right, to keep a census bureau.
Marriage certificate.
Right, but that's what it is right now. It's a business transaction. Drew, let's get back in here, Drew. Let's get back in here.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's not please talk. You don't have to agree. We're talking about
I think the ladies bring up a good point. I think for thousands of years, marriage has benefited men, right?
Benefited men?
Yeah. Well, here's why. It certainly didn't benefit the women, historically speaking. They had no ownership. They were treated as property by their husbands. I can abuse my wife. I can rape her if I wanted to. I can go sleep with somebody else. And women really had very limited options.
Right?
You're ignorant as hell,
right?
Because
I'm saying that's what they do. That's our president.
They couldn't work, and
that's what he does. He's married.
He couldn't work, and he couldn't go anywhere else, right? But now I think it's kind of tilted in the woman's favor.
Exactly.
Because for a man, even at a 50% success rate, that means I can take a coin out of my pocket and flip it. That will tell me the likelihood of the average divorce or the average marriage.
No, it's more than a coin rate. It's 70.
Right. But the point is, when a man and wife divorce, the woman gets the children, she gets my seed, and she gets half my money. At least half my money, right? So for men, it's more of a risk nowadays.
That's what we're talking about. Let's talk about that. That's what we're talking about. No, not just that. Men in general, we lose more in this business transaction. We lose more. Why do we want to do this?
I lose my finances. I lose my children. Go ahead, Drew.
My children and my money.
What if I'm rich?
Because of course, where does that happen?
You still get the children.
Get out of here. Stop playing around. We talk the real here. Kevin Federline and Britney Spears. That was the only example we can talk about.
What are you talking about?
Where the women contentious question. When she's rich. When she's rich.
Kelly Rowland husband.
So here's a question. We got 2 more minutes. Let's talk this. What does, as a woman, I want everyone, women on the ladies' lounge to answer this. What are the benefits? What are the benefits of marriage for a man? You're a woman. Because we know what y'all get. Y'all get the laws levy.
You do.
You want me to tell you? Can we tell you what y'all get? 30 seconds.
Yes, please.
Y'all get the laws levied against y'all. Y'all get alimony. Alimony.
That's divorce. That's not marriage.
Automatically get alimony.
That's divorce. That's not marriage.
I'm asking you for your money.
So tell us what we get. I just named 3 things.
Now, are you talking about divorce or are you talking about marriage?
What are the benefits as a single man? We're 2 single men up here, 1 married. Tell us what are the benefits? Like, tell us something.
My husband's benefits for being married to me. I am his. I belong to him. My entire body. I will do whatever he wants me to do. He don't have to worry about diseases or anything else. I am his. I please him. I look to him to do whatever he asks me to do, physically and sexually. That's a great benefit of marriage. That they're pleasing you.
Okay.
You're not going with somebody else like.
They paying $30.
Chill. Chill out.
So like,
what are the benefits of marriage? We got 30 seconds.
Don't.
No, we got 2 minutes. What are the benefits of marriage? We ended on this.
The benefits of marriage are longevity, love, which a lot of people never experience, okay? And commitment. Lifelong commitment.
Okay.
There are a number of intangible benefits about having a woman who loves you and supports you, to be there for you when you are going through those challenges, when you're trying to build, when you are dealing with things in life. To have someone who is in your corner, who sees potential in you, who can encourage you when you're not even sure that you can do it yourself, who can give you advice, who can be your confidant, who can be your lover, who can be your friend. You can talk about money and sex all day, but you can't replace a good, strong, intelligent woman who absolutely loves you and wants nothing more than you to reach every single level that you desire to reach. You can't put a price tag on that, and that is a benefit.
That's awesome. Tiffany, what would you say?
What is the benefit of marriage for men?
Right.
Is for a man to decide before he asks a woman to marry him.
That's
my answer.
I would say that, and those are great answers. Unfortunately, with today's laws, like the cons outweigh the pros. Like seriously, the cons outweigh the pros. As far as it, everybody, you have a chance to say yours. You have a chance to say yours.
No, I really do. I really do want to. It's about the men.
Can we ask a married man that question?
Used to be with Vashti and Santos. That's on Tommy Campos. We live like Sopranos. And I walk it like a walk it like a walk it like a walk it like a
but again, we see it, the epitome of Ayesha Curry. As a man, I don't have to mention women. We're going to watch it. We're not going to speak on it, but we see what's happening. Why is this business contract? It's a business contract for fellas. See, we think logically as men, okay? We're not caught up in all the fairy tale and all that. If I look at myself as a man who's on my purpose and doing my thing, why would I want to get married? Why would I want to enter into that contract? Why? And now Drew can speak on that as a married man, right? Why would I want to do that? It doesn't behoove me to want to get married in today's society. Now, if we have different societies, different energies, when the divorce rate is 7 out of 10, why would I take those odds? I play blackjack. I go to the casino. I look at the odds. I bet. Why would I want to bet on those odds? Let's be for real. We don't want to have this conversation, but we have this conversation here on the SKEAM Podcast. We might have to do a Word of Lazy at part 3 because ladies will get more stuff than me. I know, Drew. But go ahead, Drew. You go ahead. They want to hear from a married man.
Look, if divorce rate is 70%, that's very risky. I think for me, having been married 25 years, what I like that I have with my wife is history. You know, I got married when I was 19, and so 19. Don't add that up. But you know, when I was 20s, I was a different person than I am now. And we have stories whenever we meet with new people, and I share stories about from my 20s. My wife can be there to echo those stories. Same with the 30s. I was a different person in my 30s. She was there. Now that I'm in my 40s and approaching 50s, she's there too. So, and I think that's something that men take for granted when you're chasing skirts. But when you're, 30, 40, 50, and you can look back and say, okay, here's somebody that was with me when we were eating ramen noodles. Yeah. Here's somebody that
was on Tinder. Yeah. On social media.
Right. And that's good. However,
come on now, talk about it.
There's a lot of women out there giving it away, and it's
why by the collar you get the book for free. Y'all listen to the SKEAM Podcast. Listen, I know we over remember DZ. Check this out. We're gonna finish this conversation next week because we got so much to get in. Again, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube SKEAM.podcast, iTunes SKEAM_podcast.
Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna get y'all to call in next week because we can keep this going. You know what I mean? Listen, thank you for checking with us and rocking with us. We're gonna see y'all next week. We are SKEAM Podcast. Peace.
Yeah.